coming to you live from the Built for Tough studio. Boomer and Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever on the free Odyssey app. Good Monday morning, a football Monday. Yes, the Jets played a football game, but that really wasn't much to it as they lose Tyrod Taylor. They look uninspired. This is a game that we probably won't remember for the rest of time. It was sort of poetic that Zach Wilson was out there taking knees for the Miami Dolphins at the end of the game to sort of tie everything together. But what a day otherwise in the NFL. Some spectacular edge-of-your-seat football, including the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. Just some great stuff. And then at 4 o'clock, what a great game. The Packers and the Bears, just two. And I hate those two teams, but, man, that was fun to watch knowing that my season was over, those two teams going at it. So, yeah, we have a ton to talk about today. The Jets are sort of going to be on the back burner, quite frankly, because there's just not a lot there. But that was a great day in the NFL. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. And don't forget about the Texans last night beating Kansas
of course.
City. And, I mean, some of the decisions, I mean, I love Andy Reid. You know, he's the big old teddy bear. It's the guy we all got a lot of respect for as a coach. But some of those decisions he made towards the end of this game last night were just mind-boggling, going for it on 4th down on his side of the 50, giving a short field to Houston and basically handing them the game. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of discussion about that. I mean, I know that, you know, Patrick Mahomes played awful last night. His passing was off. I don't know if he's hurt or not. Take this one. Thank you, Al. I forgot my earpiece, so Al had to go get it.
Yep, that's what's going on here. All good.
Al's got his I guess what we call that, bombardier hat on.
Bombardier hat, yeah.
You know, whatever that is. So anyway, in regards to the Jets, I mean, this game was over. 15 offensive plays into it for the Miami Dolphins, 21-0. And the thing that showed me, just real quickly, just to go, the problem that the Jets have, they may have problems with players. They need better players. They trade away some of their good players. You know, they beat Atlanta last week. That doesn't say much given what Atlanta looks like right now. But they were completely exposed defensively from a schematic situation. Like Mike McDaniel came in here and had a game plan at the beginning of this game and went right down the field on them, 15 plays, 21 points. And that means that Steve Wilks' defense had no clue. And there were guys running wide open. I mean, Tua didn't throw for over 130 yards in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was all on the ground. I mean, I've talked before about good running backs against the Jets and Giants is like a lock thing to take. And Devin Achane ends up leaving the game like in the second quarter or whatever it was, but he already had 92 yards on the ground on like 5 carries, end up running for over 200 yards. It's just, and that right there, and talking to anybody who's ever played at a high level, including you, one of the biggest like indicators of getting your ass whipped is those rushing yards.
That's exactly right.
And that's what happened yesterday. And I don't know, once Tyrod Taylor goes out, you got Brady Cook out there. I mean, the place is absolutely dead. I don't even know what to say about it. They are in a great situation going forward, even a better situation after the Daniel Jones injury with the 2 first-round picks, and who knows where that organization is going to go, but it's certainly going to be, you know, closer to the top of the draft with the losses that they're going to have. So that's really what I need to see is them getting their future quarterback, where they end up at the end of the year. Darren Mucci building this roster. They don't have enough players. And I also think that, you know, right now I evaluate the coaching staff as like a D, but they also don't have enough players for me to sit there and really understand who they are.
The defense looked like it was totally confused yesterday at the beginning of this game. That's what I was talking about. And especially when Tua did go to throw, it was guys were running wide open. Like whether it be formations or motions or different things that they were just totally ill-prepared. And, you know, that goes back to Steve Wilks' defense and his schematics and all that other stuff. It was way too easy, and it was ridiculous. It looked like it was 7-on-7. The other team, I guess, wins without playing is the New York Giants because now they have the number 1 draft pick this coming April.
Yeah, with their quarterback in place, and you always want to have the quarterback already there, but it is funny when we've talked all these years when they didn't have the quarterback and wanted them to get the number 1 overall pick, and now this year they may have the number 1 overall pick, but already have the quarterback. But we'll see. There's still a ways to go. There's some really bad teams in there, as we know, including the the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns and the Saints and the Commanders yesterday.
The thing about it is that the Titans and the Saints win yesterday.
Yeah, they did. Well, the Saints didn't. They did.
Yeah,
oh my God, they did.
They
yes,
upset the Bucs.
and that's right, they did. And the Raiders lose too, as they are another miserable football team. And we'll talk about that game coming up in a little bit, as there's major controversy in 2 football games yesterday, and I don't have an explanation for that one at all. I really don't. I could sit here and try to give you an explanation. I can't give you an explanation for what happened there. But yeah, that Saints one was one of the bigger shockers of the week, especially the way that they had played with Tyler Shuck there at quarterback. So yeah, we'll see where the Giants end up. But I was also, speaking of the Giants, I wonder if there's like a Joe Shane group text that's with the owners and other people, and he just bops in there. He's like, hey, I was out a little bit today on the bye week. Anybody see what's going on with the Colts? Anybody?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Anybody see what happened with the Colts today? No. Oh, okay. I just want a little curious to see what happened there, because Daniel Jones being hurt was one of we always talk about all the bad stuff that came out of Hard Knocks off season. I was reminded yesterday of Daniel Jones Joe Shane on the phone, one of Daniel Jones's representatives or whatever it was, and the conversations they had. And he was like, well, Daniel's biggest problem is staying on the field. Staying on the field. I mean, we're talking about 3 major injuries, and here we go again. Not only does he have that fracture, but then he tears his Achilles yesterday. And, of course, I feel bad for him, and it sucks because he was on a 1-year contract and things were going really well. But, I mean, this has been his career.
Yeah, because it's so late in the season. It's kind of like the Deshaun Watson stuff.
Yeah.
So Deshaun is now practicing for the Browns, but this was awful yesterday. I mean, like, the kid's out there trying to play with a broken fibula, and then because now he's favoring that leg probably, and this is on grass, by the way. This is not on turf.
Right.
Because, these players today have to play on, I guess, like magic carpets or something, because it's, it's so dangerous. But this is really sad. I mean, all of us, rooting for the kid, everybody likes the kid, but this is the thing. This is the frustrating part of him. And as they say, the availability is the most important ability that you can have as a player. And unfortunately, another season goes by the wayside for him. And it was a good season for him and up to this point. And he was trying to lead his team back to the playoffs. And, now it looks like, I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll trade for Joe Flacco. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, just he's bouncing around everywhere. I mean,
he played in Indianapolis. Remember,
of course,
after that little run that he had with Cleveland.
Well, he can't trade anybody. The trade deadline's over, but they'd have to release him.
Just release him.
Right.
But he was with the Colts after he had that little run with Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to bring him back because they didn't want Deshaun Watson to feel the pressure. We're paying you $230 million. You can't handle a backup quarterback on the roster that, the fans may want to play instead of you. I mean, so that's when he went to Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there with Anthony Richardson. So I don't know. I don't know if the Bengals would do the right thing by Joe Flacco and just let him go. I mean, they sent him home.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was all about.
I mean, if you are the Colts with the way that you went all in and you made trades at the deadline and you traded away, I mean that Sauce Gardner trade might end up looking like the best thing that ever happened to the Jets for the foreseeable future if those picks turn into something and they're getting better by the day. But yeah, this is a team that's going to have to try to do something unless you really believe that Riley Leonard is going to take you to the heights that you would see with the way that Daniel Jones was playing.
So the Jets have the number 7 pick and 18th overall pick. 7 and 18 right now as we sit here.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if they believe that Fernando Mendoza is the guy for them, but, good luck getting him past Las Vegas. I don't know what, New Orleans is Tyler Shuck is playing okay. I mean, it'd be really interesting to be in the room with Kellen Moore just to ask him, what's the real deal with Tyler Shuck? Is he's gotten better as the season has gone on, and that was a huge win and a huge upset for Tampa because now the Panthers and the Bucs are tied atop the NFC South.
Yeah,
what a day yesterday because the Denver Broncos come out with a 1 seed, depending on obviously what happens next week. With New England and Buffalo, and then I forget who Denver plays next week, but yeah, I mean, so you got a new number 1 seed in the NFC, a new number 1 seed in the AFC. So it's the Rams and the Broncos. And then look what happened to Chicago. They go from 1 to 7.
Yeah.
And Green Bay goes up to 2.
That's right, because of all the jumbled greatness. Well, I shouldn't say greatness. The jumbled good records that are there. It's mediocrity, but it's all jumbled good records with 10-3, 9-3-1, 10-3, 9-4. And that was. The Packers were really looking like the better team in the first half, and then the Bears really stuck to the run in the second half and looked like they were going to go down the field and tie the game. And I have a time-stamped text message to my friend. We're watching this game, and I said, Caleb Williams is going to throw an interception. He hadn't up until that point, but on that last drive, I said, I got a bad feeling he's going to throw a pick here. And when they needed him to tie the game, throws the ball up into the end zone to commit, about a yard and a half short, picked off, and that was the end of it.
How many bad beats were there yesterday?
Many. I mean, one of the worst ones ever with the Broncos and the Raiders, and I mean, I couldn't believe it. So at that point, I was just, because you had the blowout with the Rams, and one of the picks Jerry had, as I was paying attention to our picks, was the Raiders, or you had the Broncos -7.5. So I had the split screen of the Bears and the Packers in that game as it was ending because it was close. And I'm sitting there watching how that was going down, just flabbergasted. Like, to kick a field goal with time expiring to make it from 10 to 7 when the spread was 7.5. Like the game was over.
Yes.
Like they kicked the field goal as time expired.
Yeah, but you got to remember, they also called a penalty.
I know, of course.
On the previous completion where they said that the defender laid on the wide receiver, whoever was tight end, and that was a delay of the game.
Right,
and that stops the clock. So the game should have been over right there.
It should have been over. I mean, and I think that call should not have been made. But there's also the other side of it where, they've got no timeouts. They're down 10. And Pete Carroll's sitting there spiking the ball. And then for what reason? Explain to me, what reason do you kick a field goal with no time on the clock?
The only reason I could say that they end up playing the game the way they did at the end is because Pete Carroll is trying. It's very late in the season. They have an awful season going on. The last thing he wants to have the fan base think is that he's given up on the game. Even though it has no impact on the game.
Why not throw the ball in the end zone? So I've seen that scenario many, many times where they'll keep the team on the field. Like, for example, the Jets yesterday, right? So the Jets, they're getting blown out. But, you got Brady Cook going down into the final drive. He's still trying to get the ball. He throws the ball in the end zone. It's a pick, right? But they were trying to score.
He was trying to score.
He was trying to score a touchdown.
Not
the game was over.
Not stopping and kicking a field goal.
Right. But he was like, okay, so that made sense to me. So, I mean, if the Raiders are just playing and like, okay, let's go. Let's get the ball into the end zone. Let's do something here just to get some positive feeling. But to kick a field goal with the time expiring, that does nothing for you. I mean, they kicked the field goal, then they shook hands at midfield.
But to throw the flag.
Yeah, no, I know. That's where people's going to go crazy.
And this is the whole thing with the Ravens and the Steelers. The Ravens and the Steelers have a touchdown by Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
And it's called it. And then there was something that I haven't heard before. I don't know if you've heard it before.
Okay.
It was explained that you have to have an act common to the game.
Oh, yeah. Have
you heard that?
I actually have, and I've heard that from is Gene Steratore, who put out this deal yesterday.
So the thing is that if that guy, Isaiah Likely, has 2 feet in bounds, and he's in the back corner of the end zone, and then goes out of bounds,
right?
That's a touchdown. But this one, he catches the ball cleanly, gets 2 feet in bounds in the end zone, should be a touchdown.
Yeah, if he goes out of bounds, but is he maintaining possession when he goes out of bounds is really the question, right? Like, so if he goes out of bounds and holds on to the ball, but didn't hold on to the ball.
1, 2, I mean, I
All right, so you love Gene Steratore, right? You trust him?
Of course I love him, and I think he's terrific, and I sometimes he gets put in a unenviable spot trying to.
But you feel like he'd tell the truth, right?
Yeah, he doesn't try to cover up for the NFL officiating.
Right, okay.
He tries to be as honest and he's trying to do what he thinks is right and give the fans a fair assessment of what they just said.
All right, so he puts out on X, to have a completed pass, the receiver must, 1, secure the ball, secure control of the ball. They puts check. Have both feet or body part other than hands in bounds. Check. Then he goes 3, perform a football move, take a third step, tuck the ball away, turn upfield, avoid/ward off an opponent, or to maintain control of the ball long enough to do so. And then he puts X. The third element was not met. That was his take on it. I'll tell you right now, if I were watching that game, just like that last year it happened with my team with TJ Hockenson, if I'm watching that game and I see that, I'm going to be like, they're going to screw me on this. If that's my team, if I'm the Baltimore Ravens and I see that, I'm not screaming that's a catch. What I'm thinking is, it looks like a catch, feels like a catch, not a catch. They're going to get screwed. Right. Like, unless you're sitting there like this, holding the ball for 45 seconds in the end zone. And then finally the whistle blows. You're like, okay, it's actually a touchdown. No flags? Okay, good. But anything like that.
What it reminds me of, and I know it's a wide receiver and I know it's a pass, so it has to be a reception. We're talking about a reception here. But it does remind me of if a running back gets the ball, and when he's handed the ball, he's right at the line of scrimmage. He takes 2 steps, and he jumps over the pile, and he leans the ball over the pile, and then the ball gets knocked out.
Yeah.
It's not a fumble, but as long as it breaks the plane of the goal line, it's a touchdown.
A lot of ambiguity in there. Yeah. Listen, I know.
I know. It's just so frustrating. Look, I don't care who wins that game. It doesn't matter to me. All I want is what I believe the rightful owner or the winner of the team to win. And I guess, Gene explained it thoroughly, and he did a good job yesterday on TV. But I know what I saw.
Yeah.
I kind of know what I saw, and it just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they probably made the right call, but the rule should be altered. But how do you alter the specifics that Gene Steros already talked about?
Do you remember, like, when Kayvon Thibodeau took the ball out of Jalen Hurts'
that
hands?
was a bad call.
Right, yeah, but then like 3 games later, the same thing happens, and the team that pulls the ball out of his hands gets the ball.
Right, but I think we knew the rule there, and that was a bad call. We're confused about what the rule is. Did they make the right call? But is the rule weird? That's the bigger conversation.
Like to me, if a guy gets 2 feet in the end zone and he's got the ball, and he's on the sideline, and he steps out of bounds after he scores the touchdown.
Yeah, but then what happens, though, after that? Because if the same thing happens with Isaiah Likely and he loses the ball in the same situation, the same thing would come up because it's like completing the catch and all that stuff. You got to complete the catch. That's why the same thing would have happened if he loses the ball and he went out of bounds, too. It would have been like he didn't complete the catch. It's an incomplete because they ruled it an incomplete pass.
Yeah, and I know that.
So
I know. It just feels off. That's all. And I know the explanation. I'm not going to argue with Gene Steratore, and I'm certainly not going to argue with his detailed explanation. But I'm just, as a fan, as somebody who's played, I see that, and it just makes me sick.